Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to Terrible Deck Tuesday. Now, this week we are going to be playing a Walking Wake Klawf deck, and Walking Wake is our main attacker. It does 120 plus another 120 more damage if the opposing Pokemon is affected by a special condition. It also has an ability that says all of its attacks go through any effects on your opponent's active, so that's pretty cool. We also have Klawf that does 30 plus 160 more if it is affected by a special condition. And then we have Palkia to accelerate energy to Greninja or Walking Wake when we need to. As well as a 2 Bibarel, just be able to draw some cards. So yeah, that's the deck, and let's get into the games. Alright, so our opponent won the coin flip here and chose to go first. With this deck, I was choosing to go first because you generally are going to need 2 turns to get the attack off. It's pretty unlikely that you're going to have everything you need to start attacking. So I just vessel away the switch to get 2 water energy here. I did that because I wanted to hold the Bibarel in case I top deck Bidoof. I was going to use Town Store to grab a capsule, but I didn't want to give them Town Store to get a rescue board, so I should have vesseled away the Town Store and held on to the switch. But now next turn I am able to just start attacking because this is a low HP deck. I'm going to be able to knock everything out without affecting it by a special condition with just doing 100 damage with the Walking Wake. This is kind of a weird matchup. Like, I definitely want to get rid of this Bonsly or whatever it is, because being confused is kind of annoying. And I top decked the booster capsule, so I kind of get punished for not thinning my deck. I was hoping though that they wouldn't be able to retreat because they want to attach to Monkey Dory and they wouldn't have an attached retreat, but they ended up being able to get out of the active anyway. They pop in for a Mimikyu. They end up getting the rescue board with the Arven anyways, so I should have just thrown down the Town Store. But they get Mimikyu. I don't think they realize they haven't read the ability on Walking Wake, but it has a Shred style attack. So I'm going to be able to hit through this Mimikyu no problem. I can also Ultra Ball for Bidoof. Kind of sucks putting down this low HP Pokemon here to have them get more damage in play, and it's also not going to be impossible for them to knock out, but crap, I just lost my train of thought completely there. But oh, I need the draw though, so I have to get that. They end up getting an unfair stamp anyway. That's not ideal for sure. They get another Mimikyu. I guess these are just the Pokemon they want to sacrifice in the active. They want to keep their rescue board in play probably so they don't leave Manaphy. They also put down a Teal Mask Ogerpon. This is why it's really important to read your opponent's cards. Walking Wake goes right through this thing. I don't know, you gotta read the cards. I could also knock it out with Klawf, but they probably want me to use up all my switch cards anyway. I Nest Ball for a Brute Bonnet, thinking that if I get a booster capsule, I can just one-shot this this Ogerpon and be in a pretty good spot to win the game in the next 2 turns, but I don't end up getting it. So now I have just put another Pokemon in play with an ability for no reason, and my Bidoof gets knocked out, which is also very unfortunate. Because a lot of the times the decks like this really rely on trapping something in the active, setting your hand to low, and just letting the damage build up while they move damage over off their field with Monkey Dory. But they have also put a lot of Pokemon in play with their own abilities, so their damage is going to build up a lot quicker than they probably expect. They're really focusing down my Walking Wake, so I would like to get a booster capsule onto it. I also unfortunately prized 2 booster capsules, which is making this a lot harder. I would like to have 2 waters in the discard pile here too, to accelerate to the Brute Bonnet and to my other Walking Wake, but I don't. So I'm going to start attaching to the Brute Bonnet either way so that Sada can start to be an out to retreat it, because I'm guessing they're going to keep like counter catching it up over and over, and I want to be able to hard retreat it when that time comes. Now it seems like I'm in a pretty good spot, but for some reason I wasn't drawing supporters this game, so they Iono me into a pretty bad hand. Like, I can get a Bidoof, and I probably will get a Bidoof, just so that stops them from knocking out my Walking Wake on their next turn. They'll be more likely to focus down my Bidoof and not put as much damage onto my Walking Wake. And if they do want to focus my Walking Wake, I can evolve to a Bibarel and draw out of this and probably end up winning the game. So I will just grab the Bidoof. I think it's probably a risk worth taking. I also should have poisoned this Mimikyu. I didn't really think about that at the time, but that would have been a pretty fine play. And then I Iono my Bibarel away again, which is kind of frustrating. But yeah, I definitely should have thrown down that booster capsule onto the Brute Bonnet. I didn't want to do it because they had gotten a Lost Vacuum into their hand at some point. I don't remember if it was still in their hand, but it would have made it so that this Mimikyu would be accruing damage much quicker, and I would have won going into coming out of my turn. But I do top deck Irida, so I can just grab my Prime Catcher and win. Makes sense that I top decked Irida. I barely drew a single supporter all game. So yeah, we do end up winning that one, and on to the next game. Alright, we're up against Dragapult here. I threw down my two Bidoofs because I'm thinking that was terrible. I don't know why I played them first. I should have Nest Balled first. That's just bad sequencing. I should have Nest Balled, seen if both Bibarels were in the deck, and then decided how many Bidoofs I wanted to bench. But I guess I was just kind of on autopilot this game, which is not really ideal, especially in a matchup like this, where it is a real deck and I'm not playing a, well, maybe this could be a real deck because Gouging Fire is seeing play, and Gouging Fire is like literally just do 260 with a 2-prize Pokemon and move a little bit of damage with Monkey Dory. This deck at least has the option to use Greninja and attack with Klawf. The only thing that probably makes it a little bit worse is it's a little more combo based because you do have to have the Brute Bonnet and the Tool card to do damage. So that does make it a little bit harder to attack with. They get a pretty good turn here. Like, it's a pretty ideal turn for a Dragapult deck. I decide to Ultra Ball for the Bibarel first because I want to see if I can get into a supporter that would be better for the situation. They didn't do the most their last turn, but I'm assuming they have another supporter in their hand because they, I don't know, they left themselves with a 2-card hand. They picked what 2 cards that they kept, so one of them is probably like an Iono or an Arven. And I Prime Catcher up the Lumineon to avoid them collapsing it away. I figure I'll take the 2 prizes while I can. And yeah, Iono into 2 more Ionos, which is kind of crazy. And I can just get a Bibarel, and I just need to hit a Capsule, which I do. There is 4 in the deck, so I figured I had decent odds to hit it. I also read the Walking Wake because I thought for a second I did something really dumb by putting the Capsule on it, but thinking that the Walking Wake needs to be damaged and the Capsule stops it from being able to be affected by special conditions, and if it needed a special condition I wouldn't have been able to do the extra damage, but it's just the opponent's Pokemon that needs it. Yeah, they're having a pretty solid turn here. They didn't get Pidgeot out, which is the only good thing going for us. And also the reason I bossed the Lumineon, one was the 2 prizes, the other thing was because they have 2 Pidgeots down and a bunch of Dreepies. So I'm not really going to be affecting their board as much. If I were to knock out one of their 2 Pidgeots, they'd actually probably prefer that because 2 is useless and it would free up more board space for them to put down whatever else they want. I'm just debating what to get here off of the Nest Ball. It was between another Walking Wake and a Palkia. I think Palkia is a pretty fine attacker in this matchup and it can set itself up. So I ended up going with that. One thing I did notice with this deck though is like the booster capsules really start to clog up your hand at a certain point, and it feels kind of bad getting rid of them because you don't know when you're going to want them for another Walking Wake, or when your opponent's going to Lost Vacuum the one off your Brute Bonnet. So I'm almost forced to keep them around. And I probably could have Ultra Balled away the Ultra Ball and the Klawf out of my hand. I do want to attack with only one more one prizer, so it would have made sense to Ultra Ball away Ultra Ball and Klawf. I probably should have done that, because they're going to knock out probably both of my Bibarels off of the bench while two-shotting my 2-prize Pokemon. So putting a 1 prizer in the active shouldn't really make much of a difference, because that will be 3 extra prizes that they can take, and where it doesn't put them back on even prizes. So I do send up the Klawf. That is the plan. Hopefully I draw a double turbo. And I probably should... I end up getting the Brute Bonnet and setting up another one with a booster capsule. I probably should have just Ultra Balled the whole hand away though, and tried to really get the double turbo, because now I just have to grab like a switch and either Greninja or another Walking Wake or something like that. And I have to use my Palkia's VSTAR anyway. I could Ultra Ball to thin my hand down, but there's really nothing to Ultra Ball for. And it ends up kind of being the same thing anyway. I get the 3 energy in play. I'm not going to get another one regardless. Now this is where the matchup gets kind of weird, because we're just not able to one-shot anything for 2 prizes at this point. And that's going to make it so they can take their 3 prizes before I take mine. Just get rid of the Klawf there. There's really no need to have it in play anymore. I don't know. I'm guessing that they wanted me to get rid of a Brute Bonnet, and then they could vacuum the other one or counter catcher it. But I got rid of the Klawf, so now they're just in a really good spot, because they're taking their prizes 3 at a time, whereas I'm taking 2 prizes for every attack that they're taking 3. So it ends up being kind of a hard matchup. Having no way to one-shot this Pidgeot is really unfortunate. I almost grabbed the Greninja, but I definitely don't need it. And yeah, I don't think there's anything I can do to win this game at this point. I can retreat and attack with my Walking Wake. That's really the only option I have right now. But they have Pidgeot and no boss in their discard pile. So yeah, they're just going to be able to Pidgeot for boss. It's kind of unfortunate. These Pidgeot decks are really annoying. And yeah, not having a way to one-shot them is pretty detrimental, it would seem. Here I'm really trying to think if there's like anything that I can do to win the game. But I can't boss stall. I have less cards than them. They definitely have energy left as well. And if I boss the Pidgeot, I can't knock it out anyway, so that doesn't matter. Just not having a way to one-shot Pidgeot is really unfortunate in a deck that doesn't do like big enough damage. Because like that's kind of the idea of the deck. You're just like a 2-prize beat stick kind of deck, but you can't one-shot stuff. So that is why it is Terrible Deck Tuesday deck. If I just didn't put both Bibarels in play though, I probably would have been in a fine spot. But I also had the Klawf in play, so I probably would have just put 6 on the Klawf and not played the Collapse Stadium down. Either way though, I probably shouldn't have put both of them in play. I didn't really like fully think about how the prize trade would go for that matchup when it started, and I definitely should have. But yeah, Dragapult's just a real deck, and this is a fun deck. Yeah, so that is the deck. Definitely not the worst deck in the world. Try it out if you want. I don't know. There's just so many better decks, and all the stage 2s right now are so strong that to play a basic deck, you either have to be a single prize deck, or you have to be able to one-shot all of the stage 2s. And with all these decks also playing Pidgeot, they just do what they want every single turn. So not having a way to remove that is also kind of unfortunate. But yeah, that's the video. Hopefully I will be putting out either the how to play Miraidon video, later this week and the Guardy video next week on going a little more in depth into the sequencing in Guardy and plans for matchups. So, you know, subscribe or whatever for that and like it or dislike the video. And yeah, have a good day.